I told you. Also, apparently, this is what was going on this morning at Fox News. As Donald Trump is currently 5 minutes away from nuclear holocaust. This is what Fox News was covering this morning, you know? So for all the liberals who've been crying about this manufactured outrage campaign for like the past 3 weeks, you should have focused your efforts, just like I was, on addressing what Donald Trump is doing, addressing what Israel is doing, and maybe building up a strong base of resistance against the imminent international rule-based order collapsing actions that our terrorist Adolf Hitlerian style president is committed to, seemingly. Abdul also did a Fox interview this morning about me as well, which is kind of wild. Once again, it's unbelievable that this is like the real mover and shaker in American politics. It's very obviously set up as like, it's designed as this perfect distraction. And it's unbelievable how many people are so deranged in their hatred of myself that they are leaning into it, right? Like they've been actively leaning into it. These past couple of weeks, what have I been doing, right? What have we been doing in this community? We've been talking about Donald Trump. We've been talking about what Donald Trump is doing. We've been monitoring the situation, actively talking about Donald Trump's genocidal rhetoric, actively talking about the war crimes that Trump and the Israeli government are committing. There are a lot of people that have decided to instead shift their enmity and their focus in this pivotal moment towards someone like myself for channeling the frustrations of the base within the Democratic Party. And it's fucking insane to me. It's unbelievable that there is dissociation with like where people are. No one gives a shit about this stuff. And yet these guys chose to be so annoying, chose to be so resistant to the calls being made by their own constituents once again. As I've said over and over again, it's like they want to lose or something. I don't know what it is. In any case, start there. Yeah. Michigan Dem doubles down after rally with anti-Israel streamer Fox and Friends.
Senate candidate in Michigan
from an hour ago.
Criticism this morning for planning a rally with anti-Israeli podcaster Hasan, who says America deserved 9/11 and justified the October 7th attacks.
It doesn't even matter. None of this justifies that Palestinians have a right to dignity, a right to emancipation, a right to live free lives, free from this occupation. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if rapes happen on October 7th. Like that.
It's crazy when they add the context, because I feel like it's it's already an endlessly defensible position that most people would agree to. So it's always, I welcome whenever Fox News at least like gives me the opportunity to make my case. They won't ask me to do it on camera, which I could, but yeah, it's crazy that they will say, "Oh, he justified the October 7 attacks," and then they literally show me openly saying like nothing justifies what Israel is doing and what Israel has done leading up to October 7. Not even the atrocities that may or may not have happened on October 7, the way that Israel is presenting it.
Doesn't change the dynamic for me even this much.
Democratic Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed joins us now. Abdul, thanks so much for getting up this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Abdul, you've run a campaign where you've got a lot of young people supporting you. You've talked about gas prices, eliminating medical debt. But there has been some moments where a lot of people that are moderate Americans have disagreed with you. And I want to play this clip of when the supreme leader, the Ayatollah, was eliminated. And this is what you had to say. Watch.
I also want to remind you guys that there are a lot of people in Dearborn who are...
Yeah, also, this makes it a lot easier for Abdul to not only defend the context, but also himself as well, right? Because they're basically tying both of these idiotic clips out of context that are totally defensible statements together, which shows what their intent is. So now he can just like talk about exactly what he meant. That's a good thing.
Sad today. So like, I just don't want to comment on Khamenei at all. Like, I don't think it's worth even touching that.
So, Abdul, I guess my question would be, who are those people and why do you still want their support?
Well, fast forward 5 weeks on, I think all of us are sad today. Our gas prices are up over $1. We're fighting a war that is taking service members' lives, and we're paying our tax dollars to do it to the tune of $1 billion to $2 billion a day. So I think all of us right now ought to be sad. We just watched a beautiful package about Dude 44 Bravo and his heroic return. And the president said that we leave nobody behind, except for the entire American public is being left behind by a war that is unjustifiable and illegal. So I think I speak for all of us to say that we are worse off in this war than we were before. And I think all of us...
Kind of wild that Fox News has listed you as anti-Israel on their news banner. Meanwhile, the Democratic establishment think tanks are going full on with the anti-Semitism claims. Yes, because the Fox News doesn't need to lie. Fox News already can say he's anti-Israel, and their audience will go, oh my God, he's anti-Israel. How dare he be anti-Israel? That's unacceptable. Do you understand? For Fox News, saying someone's anti-Israel is worse than saying someone's anti-Semitic. There's plenty of people who are anti-Semitic on Fox News. There's plenty of people who have been defended on Fox News from allegations of anti-Semitism. So for them, they have the liberty to say the quiet part out loud. Like the actual animosity is coming from my anti-Israel stance. For Democrats, they have to couch it under smears and manufactured outrage.
Really need to step back and ask
liberals.
ourselves what our dollar should be used for.
So I would ask you, Abdul, I think you're right. I think the polling suggested, I mean, that was Iran's goal. Stated goal was to put pressure on the gas prices. But specifically, who are the people within the community that are sad about the Ayatollah being dead? Because the peaceful Muslims that I know, including those that are in the Gulf state that are supporting this action right now, they reject him and they wanted him dead. So who are those people that you know that are sad, and why?
Again, he's trying to be like, you're a Muslim radical, like you're pro-Ayatollah. That's what he's trying to fucking present. Once again, Abdul El-Sayed's response here, I don't know what he'll say, should just be, listen, of course people are upset. We went in and we bombed an entire school. We killed almost 200 little schoolgirls in that opening salvo against the country that was open to negotiations, that was doing negotiations with us. And this was the second time we engaged in perfidy. It's unbelievable. If you're not sad, you don't understand what America's promise is supposed to represent. This is not just about an 87-year-old man, okay, and his assassination. This is a much broader problem.
Well, look, I'm no apologist for any regime, including our own. And at the end of the day, the question is whether or not a leader focuses on his or her people. Clearly, the Ayatollah did not. And clearly, Donald Trump and this administration is not either. So again, I'm going to tell you, they are white, they are black, they are Arab, they are non-Arab, they are Muslim, they're not Muslim. They're all the people who had to pump gas this morning to get to work and realize that they were going to have to end up paying tremendously more money because of an illegal, unjustifiable war. So the notion that the Ayatollah is dead is one thing, but the notion by which our country did it, fighting a third conflagration in a third country in this year alone, that there is the problem. And I think we have to understand that in politics, in government, the means don't always justify the end doesn't always justify the means. And I think Americans of all stripes right now are unified by asking, what is the aim here and what are we doing?
Yeah, so I think most Americans remember the 17 Americans that were died in 1983 at the death of Iran.
No, they don't. No, they don't. That's what most of maybe Fox News' watchers, because they're all 85. But even then, there's never been a moment where Iran has randomly decided to attack America. The reason for why the successful revolution that took place in Iran, the Iranian revolution, the reason why it even happened was because of American intervention. And we haven't stopped trying to fuck with these people for 47 years. Every single thing that the American government brings up as a justification for the imminent threat that Iran has presented for 47 years is ridiculous. First of all, you cannot declare imminence if something has been happening consistently for 47 years. None of that makes sense. Okay, so even the language in and of itself is silly. is ridiculous. Oh, they've presented an imminent threat to America for 47 years. Okay, so then it's not imminent. And many people, including former Trump administration officials like Joe Ken, have openly come out and said, no, Iran has not actually been a threat for 47 years. This is bullshit. This is complete and utter nonsense, because it is nonsense and it should be said. This is one of the biggest problems that I have with American politics, with American news, and the way that politicians approach things, right? We should just say the truth. We must seek truth from facts, and we must communicate the truth to people, even if it's hard to hear. And that's precisely what I will always do, even though people yell at me for it, right? Womp womp, you're speaking nonsense, says Egyptian Cotton. See, there's going to be a lot of people like this. There will be people that will go, I don't want to hear that because I don't want to believe it. In my mind, I have to assume that there is good reason for why we're doing this. You have to, at a certain point, come to the reality that the government is lying to you. Okay? If you believe that the government lied to you about COVID vaccines, it's so ridiculous that you would believe that the government is being truthful about, like, Iran, if you're a right-winger who believes such things. I don't even believe that, right? I don't believe the COVID vaccine shit. But, like, there's plenty of right-wingers who will just be like, yeah, the government's lying to you, brother. But then they'll be like, but yeah, Iran has been an imminent threat for 47 years, and I'm not going to question it. Or China's been a massive threat to America. All of these foreign adversaries happen to be truly evil countries, right? Perhaps that's so that you get on board. Perhaps that is so you get on board with having all of your productive output reoriented to all of these wars, rather than use your tax dollars building schools here, okay? You got potholes in your neighborhood. Your infrastructure is dog shit. Your bridges are in a state of dire disrepair. You don't have health care. You're never going to get health care. Rural hospitals are closing up in your neighborhood. And you think, oh, well, it's actually fine that we are the wealthiest nation on earth. And that's the situation here right now as it stands, because we're defeating these scary enemies elsewhere. There's never a moment where these people ask, why are these guys our enemies? Should we be fighting them? Right? It's an endless sequence of self-soothing behavior. Yeah, just the idea of anything being imminent for decades is oxymoronic. Like, it doesn't make sense. That's not how language works. We are the threat to Iran. For 47 years, they presented no threat to us.
On 244 American service members in October the 23rd in 1983, 19 U.S. airmen in Kopar Tower in 1996, and 3 U.S. Americans, soldiers in 2024 of January. I want to get to your big event that you're going to have with Hasan Piker. He has said some things about 9/11. What do you stand on this? October 7th, he has blamed.
Yeah. Again, ironically enough, October 7 and 9/11 both have, a direct through line. It's not, it's never acceptable when civilians die. I've never defended that, okay? My principled stance on this is I don't want any civilians to die ever, okay? I'm anti-war unconditionally. 9/11 is a direct byproduct of American meddling in the affairs of the Middle East for decades prior to 9/11. And that's not just my assessment. There's academic consensus on this. It's called blowback. And not only is there academic consensus on this, but former Fox News favorites like Robert Kagan, the godfather of the American neoconservative movement, only this past week came out and said the exact same things, right? He came out and said, look, there's no reason for these people to come and try to kill us. It is directly because of our meddling in their affairs that these sorts of things happen, right? 9/11 apologist Hasan. I noticed that since the Roach is not live today because he got banned, we're going to probably have a lot more weirdos in the chat today. Hopefully this will be, for the first time ever, an educational opportunity for many of you. Hopefully you guys can stick around and maybe cut through the noise for the first time and understand where I'm coming from, because I'm in the process of describing this to you. Ironically enough, Asmongold has actually agreed with me in the past on that statement, and when he wasn't behaving in a partisan hack-like manner. Obviously, things have changed since then. Maybe many of you are newcomers to his commentary, and therefore didn't know that.
Israel for that. We know that they were attacked. Do you agree with him?
Of course, I oppose rape. Of course, I don't think 9/11 was justified. But because you appear with somebody doesn't mean you agree with them on everything. Think about this. You have the president on the show.
I think he should hit that line real quick to be like, listen, what he said before. He talks 10 hours a day. You, of all people, know better than when people get taken out of context. And you're doing that right now to an ideological enemy, right?
All the time. He talks about grabbing people by parts of their bodies I don't think you would ever consider. And that doesn't mean that you wouldn't appear with him. My question to you is, when did we start bending to cancel culture? When did we start saying that cancel culture was okay? Because clearly on your show, you have a number of people who you don't agree with, including me. And I think it's important for all of us who want to win votes, who want to build America, to go and talk to anyone, anywhere.
And we only have limited time, so I don't want to cut you off. But I'm talking about someone standing with the #1 state sponsor of terror. I'm talking about condemning the worst attack.
We're the #1 state sponsor of terror. We are doing the terrorism. The president is doing terrorism as of this morning. I don't think you should get into describing blowback as too in the weeds. Yeah, definitely not on Fox News either. But I think like when this conversation gets brought up over and over again, it does, like there has to be a little bit of pushback as well, aside from just like attacking the framework of cancel culture. And the reason why I say that is not because I'm like, oh, why won't these people defend me? It makes them look bad as well a little bit. You're basically saying you are de facto endorsing these statements. There has to be a reason for it. It's not just because you oppose cancel culture. It's because you understand the background of these sentiments, right? Like you understand the full context of this. You understand the full scope of my analysis and my advocacy. So in a way to defend yourself, don't just claim that this is a principled stance against cancel culture, because that's going to have limited success after the 11 millionth time that people bring this kind of shit up.
On American, if you want to vote in a country where we consider this event brought us to our knees, I'm talking about speaking to moral clarity specifically about that. I'm happy to have you on to talk about the President of the United States any other time, but would you speak to what he said about,
I just think it's
important.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous thing to do in this morning of all mornings if we're even going to talk about language. Because the president this morning said he is going to end civilization. He is going to murder Iranians. And it's a big difference when the president says that, especially when he's in the process of blowing up Iran and murdering Iranian civilians, including little schoolgirls at a school. It's been 38 days of this endless bombing campaign. It's very different than misunderstanding and trying to manufacture outrage around the commentary from a Twitch streamer with statements from 2019 that already was discussed and parsed through endlessly back in 2019 on fucking Fox News. I think everyone understands exactly what's going on here.
Speak to what he said about 9/11 and October the 7th.
Well, it's important to talk about context. I'm never going to agree that 9/11 was justified. It was wrong. It was a horrible day for all of us. I'm never going to be okay with the innocent murder of civilians. I condemned Hamas and I condemned that attack on day one. The issue that you're trying to do is paint me out of context quotes, without a context quotes taken out of context specifically to ask me these questions. And I'm going to play the same game with you. Why is it that you will not condemn the fact that the president of the United States talked about grabbing people by their body parts?
Trying to argue phrasing context with Fox News at this point is never going to work as a host is operating from a disingenuous position. It just gets you mired in nonsense. No, the argument always is like, dude, you know better than anybody else when people yell at the president, okay? And there's obviously, it's obviously much more damning when the president is saying unhinged things as the president, not even as a private citizen, right? But also as the president. It's unbelievable. Anyway, this kind of stuff is a twofer, right? On the one hand, Abdul is trying to farm some sympathetic voters potentially to his side from the Fox News audience, but then also these clips will live on, and this will also make him look good to the liberals as well. That's why he's doing the grabber by the pussy comments.
And I would argue that's all part of the same cancel culture game that we should not be playing. So I'm talking to your audience today because I think it's important to have a conversation.
Yeah, look, he's on the back foot. That's great. Always, Adam Mockler does this so perfectly, okay? He is so cutting when he goes on these panels, when he has like these right-wing reactionaries on these panels, he's so good at this stuff. He turns into Adam Mogler, right? He'll go on a panel and just be like, you're really going to talk about a Twitch streamer and his statements when your guy, your president, is destroying the global economy? You know, it's unbelievable. What are we doing here? You have a higher standard for leftist Twitch streamers than you do the president? He's the president. Now go ahead and defend the president. That's part of the reason why I think like this kind of stuff is so old school, right? This kind of back and forth is so old school. Like you either have it or you don't. Nobody likes it. Everybody does it when it comes to cancel culture. Everybody loves cynically weaponizing quotes to smear their opposition. Nobody wants to have a real conversation about any of this stuff. It's very frustrating. Donald Trump is threatening nukes, and these guys very clearly want to talk about a fucking Twitch streamer. They're doing this as a distraction.
Matters about the issues that matter today.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I'm doing.
That's not on the ballot, and that was litigated in 2016, and the American people reelected him again. So we've gone through that. I want to ask you about some of your comments because you're the one that's running for office. The president is term limited. You said that ICE, it cannot be reformed, and they cannot be trained, and they should be
amazing. Great.
Funded. Do you still have that point of view?
I want you to ask yourself, Marines are getting a bum deal right now because ICE is funded to a higher level than the U.S. Marines, and we're now fighting a war. Ask yourself if that keeps them safe. Ask yourself.
Yeah, the ICE literally went to a base of a dude who was about to go out and fight Trump and Israel's wars in Iran, and they apprehended his wife, dude. Like, there's no, like, even within the confines of the right-wing framework that they design, where they're like, we love patriotism, we love America, we love our soldiers. It's like they literally, ICE is straight up nabbing people, nabbing wives of service members who are about to go on tour to fight Iran at the behest of Israel and Donald Trump, and ICE is kidnapping their wives. What the fuck kind of conversation is this? I mean, it's unbelievably evil. I don't think those guys should be going to fight Israel and Trump's wars in Iran. And I certainly don't think their wives should be getting kidnapped off of military bases. You have no leg to stand on. This is indefensible stuff.
It keeps you safe. They shot 2 people, one in the face, one in the back of the head. So no, you cannot reform using a child as bait. You cannot reform shooting American citizens because you can operate with impunity. So yes, absolutely, stand American public for and a humane approach to immigration enforcement.
So you believe that the 10 plus
they're like, cut it out. He's making too many good points.
Million, some of them, which we have captured that are terrorists, since they're the only service that can do the deportations, you believe all those people should stay in the country. Is that what you're saying?
Come on, Lauren, you're better than that. At the end of the day, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
so who's
ICE
going to deport
enforcement
them?
in this particular way.
Who's going to deport them? We already have a process, okay? We have regular law enforcement. You heard of it? ICE doesn't run a law enforcement function. ICE doesn't prosecute people. ICE doesn't even apprehend criminals. Members of law enforcement that actually apprehend and arrest criminals, regardless of their immigration status. It's American judges that adjudicate what kind of sentencing these criminals will receive, regardless of immigration status. It's American prisons that these criminals go to if they've been found guilty of committing crimes. And in the aftermath of that, in the aftermath of all of that process, then immigration and naturalization services historically have apprehended some of these immigrants that have conducted heinous crimes. And if they see fit to deport them, they have deported them. That's what the normal process was. Donald Trump has changed that dynamic quite a bit. He makes it seem as though ICE is actually stopping crimes from happening, apprehending criminals and whatnot. But that's not the case. That's never been the case. This is not the function of ICE. ICE is not a regular law enforcement apparatus. These guys have historically and still continue to apprehend paperwork criminals. Okay? Paperwork criminals. Because at the end of the day, all immigrants, undocumented, are in violation of a civil violation. It's a paperwork problem. and it should be dealt with through paperwork rather than this like violent physical deportation process, unless there are other circumstances at play. Okay? Once again, we can be honest about this. We should be honest about this. If someone hasn't committed a heinous crime, they should not receive a heinous punishment. It's unnecessary, it's violent, it's causing instability here domestically. And on top of that, it has a negative consequence on the economy. It rips apart the social fabric that is kept America together. It's one of the most redeemable aspects of the American promise, that we are a nation that is diverse, and that diversity is part of our power. We are a nation that is comprised entirely of immigrants. I mean, the fucking president is a second-generation German, right? The goddamn president, Donald Trump, his family's only been on U.S. soil for 2 generations. That's the beauty of America. I mean, I hate Donald Trump, but the reality is this is the one country where your great-grandfather could come here and you can be the fucking president. That's unbelievable. There's no other country like this, okay? There's no other country like this. That's what Abdul al-Sayed could be saying here as well.
When you shoot people in the face, when you fund them to the tune of 185 billion, when they can walk around with impunity covering their faces, not actually being held accountable to the highest law of the land, which is our Constitution, that is wrong. You can have immigration enforcement. You can keep a safe and secure southern border, which I agree with, but not like this.
All right. We appreciate you coming on and taking
What is this? But they don't want to do the paperwork at all, so eventually you have to get him out of the country. That's not true, brother. Again, you've been lied to, okay? Look, I'm not going to fault you because this is Roach Day, right? There's a lot of Asmongold fans in here, so perhaps you've been deluded into thinking this, but that's not the case, okay? A lot of the people that we're apprehending were actually nabbing from their pre-assigned court dates where they're going through the process of immigration court. They're going through the process of getting the proper clearance and the proper paperwork. ICE actually knows where the overwhelming majority of undocumented migrants are, and usually there's this handshake between ICE and the undocumented migrants, right? Where they know they're working, they know exactly where they work because they pay taxes, and in many circumstances they literally have temporary protected status as well. So they already have the proper clearance and the proper paperwork. And they're going through the process of getting a full-blown clearance to work on U.S. soil. And in many of these circumstances, ICE is going to their place of work and also on top of that, going to their court dates, waiting outside of their court proceedings to apprehend them there. These are the people that are playing ball with the government. These are the people who are following the letter of the law. They legally have a right to claim asylum in many of these circumstances. And ironically enough, most people don't know this because they've been lied to. They've been lied about the violence that these people present, which is, there's no evidence for it. All evidence actually shows that they are responsible. Undocumented and documented migrants are responsible for a lower share of crimes, significantly lower share of crimes than natural-born U.S. citizens are. And on top of that, these guys, 90% of the time, are actually following through on their court process, right? Or higher than 90%, as a matter of fact. It's unbelievable. We tell these people a lie, right? This is like American prosperity. You play ball with us. You tell us where you're at. You work for pennies on the dollar in some instances because you have a dream of building a better future for your family. And then what do? We punish them. We punish the people who are actually doing the right things. It's unnecessary. It's super cruel. It is a negative consequence on the economy. It actually sincerely has no positive, it has no benefits to America, right? It has no benefits to America at all. It's a total betrayal of the values that America represents. Anyway, I am 100% sure only a small number of people are indeed seeking true citizenship, but there's a lot of people benefit from it being illegal. No, they don't. They don't benefit from it at all. As a matter of fact, the only people that benefit are the bosses, the capital owners that know these guys are undocumented and know that, they usually won't be apprehended so they can work them to the fucking bone. They actually give a lot more back to the American economy than they take. They're totally shut out from the welfare structure. They can't take advantage of any of the benefits that other Americans can, and yet they pay taxes. So it's wrong. You're just wrong. I mean, it's okay. It's okay to be wrong, I guess. Hopefully, though, if you're smart enough, you hear this information and you receive it and you think critically about it, and perhaps you change your mind, right? That's what normal adults are supposed to do. You have that opportunity. I hope you take it.
Michigan Senate candidate.
There's another Fox and Friends coverage here as well. Why are you even reasoning with this guy? Everyone but natives is illegal in America. Hell, Hispanics are less illegal than American citizens. I'm trying to reason with this person because even if I can't reach across the aisle and change his mind, there are probably a lot of people out there who have maybe similar suspicions, and they can be convinced when they hear what I have to say. Not only that, but also it gives you the proper talking points. It reminds you of what the truth is on this issue. So when you have a conversation with someone who might change their minds, you are properly equipped. You're properly equipped with the talking points, and you develop a better understanding of why, this is happening. This ICE stuff is so overblown. ICE is deporting a little more than Biden did. The GOP's doing the cruelty theatrics to please their base, and the Dems do the exact same with the Gestapo pearl clutching. Yeah, except you're in the community of a person who is actively and aggressively defended migrants' rights under the Obama administration, and certainly demanded that Biden also take a more tolerant approach and fulfill his promises of creating a system of amnesty for the tens of millions of undocumented migrants that have been working on U.S. soil for the past decade plus. So I don't care what Biden did. I don't care what Obama did. I was actually against that because I have fucking principles. Because I'm not a goddamn partisan hack in the way that a lot of these people are that you approach, in the way that you might be. Okay? The idea that kidnapping random people off the streets is not a big deal is so goddamn silly. And no, as far as the differences between Joe Biden and Obama's approach to the situation, there's a difference between interior removals and deportations happening at the point of border crossings. Obama and Joe Biden have consistently engaged in mass deportations at the point of border crossings. And I think that is also immoral because they're not allowing these people to go through the motions and the legal rights that they have as asylum seekers to go through the court processes. But Donald Trump has hyper-focused on interior removal, going after people at their place of business, going after people at their court dates. These are not only people that have been living inside of the United States of America, these are people that have been working. These are people that are part of the community. And, they're being ripped apart from their fucking families. So you're actually wrong. There is a difference between the two, even though I'm against Obama and Joe Biden behaving in this cruel manner regardless. So yeah, ICE is a big deal. And perhaps that's the reason why, the system is fucked up. It's not ICE that's the issue, really. In Nazi Germany, the system is fucked up. It's not the Gestapo. That's the issue. That's the argument that you're making, right? I mean, that's stupid. No, I'm trying to change the fucking system, and you're trying to do this sheepish argument to defend ICE for some weird reason, while now openly recognizing that the system is busted. Okay, well, welcome to the fight, brother. If you understand why, how are they like the Gestapo? I don't know, demanding paperwork off of random people that they suspect of being migrants, detaining them, apprehending them, throwing them in the fucking prisons, and then deporting them to a concentration camp in El Salvador. That's, not dissimilar to the way that the Nazis operated as well. And their arguments at the time, identical to your argument currently, was, well, Jews are actually statesless. Why are they statesless? We've decided that they're statesless people. That's precisely what's happening right now. Anyway, let's continue.
Abdul El Sayed plans to rally with far-left anti-Israel streamer Hasan Piker, who has made many controversial comments, such as saying America deserved 9/11. He also had this to say about the October 7th attacks.
It doesn't even matter. None of this justifies.
Okay, oh my God, it's the same fucking talking points. Holy shit.
Yet he has said extremely controversial comments.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to skip this. I don't think there's any reason to listen to this, right?